Thank you, Madam Chairman. Members of the committee, thank you for inviting me. We're here today because there are now some 60,000 barrels of oil gushing into the Gulf every 24 hours with no end in sight. We're here today because a carefully crafted plan designed by the oil industry and rubber stamped by the MMS claimed it could handle spills of up to 250,000 barrels a day, but turned out not to be a plan at all. We're all here. And now the whole world is watching as America fumbles its way through the greatest environmental disaster in history. And I find myself here because 17 years ago I thought I could play a part in this reoccurring nightmare. I have come here with the technology that was developed for this very moment we find ourselves in as a people, as a nation, as a neighbor to every country that shares the precious Gulf of Mexico. I am a private entrepreneur, a dreamer, if you will, who saw a problem and committed to a big idea. I took a technology from the Department of Energy in 1993. It was about 6 inches tall. It was developed to separate metals. But what if? What if we could take that little idea, this little machine, and scale it up to separate large volumes of oil from water? I believe that we could manufacture and deploy a rugged and portable machine under these harsh conditions. We would create 5 different sizes, with the largest being able to handle up to 200 gallons per minute, with both oil and water outputs at 99.9% purity. In 2 years, the dream moved from research and development to a commercially viable product ready to be deployed anywhere in the world. This was done without the help of outside investors or government grants. The price tag would be over $20 million, and I would pay it. The need was clear. An industry that would operate year-round, 24 hours a day, in or near any body of water at depths and complexities that our modern oil industry are working in, is going to experience spills. They're going to experience spills on a daily basis, large or small, accidental or otherwise, reported or not. I started a business without a guarantee of a market, but clearly there is a market out there. Did I expect the oil industry to open its arms when I presented an oil-water separator, a solution to their single greatest liability? Yes. Did I expect leaders here and abroad to recognize the importance of protection where we profit? Yes, I did. But I was wrong. The list of government agencies, foreign and domestic oil companies who saw our technology more than a decade ago reads like a who's who of those who needed it, those who should have been looking for it, and probably more to the point, those who should have been developing it themselves. So what was the problem? Was it too small? Was it too portable? Was there already something like it in the big plan? I don't know. My big idea has been sitting quietly for 10 years in a modest Nevada facility. Then 2 days ago, I got a call from Doug Suttles, COO of Exploration and Production for BP. He was pleased. He was excited. He told me that the machine worked. He told me that it was working against the dispersants, that it was handling the variations of oil mixtures and thickness present in the Gulf. He ordered 32 machines and told me that this represented the beginning of us working together, not only for this spill, but for going forward, and that we would have a legitimate response in the future. I am proud that this technology can be part of the solution for the Gulf. Am I proud that this technology can be part of the solution in the Gulf? Yes. To a certain extent, to be completely honest, I feel vindicated. I think perhaps I will call my mother. But this is not a Hollywood ending for me. The path to arrive at this moment was steep and formidable. That's why I've been called to testify before this committee to explain why 21st century technology has sat idly on the shelf for 10 years, when it could have been deployed as a first, most efficient responder to mitigate the Deepwater Horizon catastrophe. The business of oil spill cleanup is not pretty. It is not sexy. Safety never is. It is not a profit center. It is perfectly clear that the oil companies have not invested in cleanup technology to match their 21st century appetite in operations. In the last 2 weeks, my company began an exciting collaboration with Edison Schwesch, the largest oil servicer in the Gulf. We are in the final stages of engineering emergency response ships that would be staged to strategically throughout the Gulf with the ability to be on site within 2 hours of an incident. I know my time has run out, but I would ask this committee and the members on the chair that I've waited 17 years to be here. I talk kind of slow, and
go ahead and
I make long movies.
2 minutes. Go right ahead, Mr. Costner.
Thank you. Thank you. Together, we are fashioning a more comprehensive plan that we would like to present before the lifting of the moratorium. It would fundamentally change the world's approach to oil spill recovery, but we haven't stopped there. Oceans Therapy Solutions continues to push the envelope of progress, once again footing the bill for the R&D without help from industry or government. I believe there are other small companies out there in the private sector just like us. How do we let them in? How do we create an environment that fosters and encourages investment in critical technologies? I leave that to this body, but you should know that negotiating your way as a small business through the bureaucratic maze that presently exists is like playing a video game that no one can master. It's like trying to get to the next level that does not exist. For me, advancing the technology for oil spill cleanup was a dream, not a business. It was about improving it was not about improving my margins. I wasn't trying to even stay in the black. We were about trying to do something more. If we can find oil thousands of feet in the ground at depths that boggle the mind, then surely we have the technology to clean up our own mess, to find through photo imaging the giant black clouds of oil hidden, ranging like death in the Gulf, poised to land on our beaches or escape to the Atlantic. Without a doubt, the oil industry has the resources to create ships to hunt these down and drain their killing capacity. They have the technology and intellect to take this head on. We can all be about something more. I can see that these spills are our collective problem, but they are not our collective responsibility. The economic burden falls squarely on the oil industry. For them to get over the bar of safety and pay the price is not too much to ask. It is not too much to ask for them to have to put in place the safeguards, the redundancies, and muster the sheer will to throw an overwhelming response at the problem now and in the inevitable future. Anything less is dangerous, unacceptable, and the American people deserve better. We have a special moment in time. We have to get this right. 40,000 men and women in the oil industry are out of work through no fault of their own. Fishermen have been sidelined. Service industries are paralyzed. Families that have survived on the plentiful resources of the Gulf do not know the quality of life that now awaits them. I would ask this committee to consider the multidimensional role that this technology can play in safeguarding the water and putting people back to work. The oil industry does not have the time to evolve a plan. They have to act. This is an absolute tool. It creates an efficiency where there are no efficiencies. It represents a legitimate response to accidents that are going to happen. And it clears a path to lift the moratorium, if that's what the country wants. We are in a fight to protect our jobs, our way of life, and an ecosystem that cannot protect itself. We can put Americans back to work and bring an entire industry into the 21st century of oil spill response. It's important to remember that when there is a spill anywhere, we suffer everywhere. Our machine represents a common ground, a common sense, and an absolute reality that we can and must protect those resources that we all share.
Thank you very much. Mr. Costner, you've been a hero on the screen, and let me say you're being a hero right now in real life, and we, particularly those of us along the Gulf Coast, so appreciate your balanced approach, your ability to represent not just your own company, but thousands of businesses that, as Mrs. Baird said, have been extraordinarily frustrated, knowing they may have the solutions but not being called on. And so I really sincerely appreciate the extraordinary effort that you're making and others. Let me ask you this. You described this to me previously, but I'd like you to describe publicly what happened when you went some 10 years ago to the offshore oil expo in Houston. Could you talk about that experience when you were excited about your machine and who you presented it to and what happened?
Well, we had started by introducing the machine to all the oil companies, to the Coast Guard, to all the different agencies responsible for protecting the waters, and it got kind of the silent treatment. We then began to go to the expos where these are demonstrations where all the equipment that's designed to actually protect us in oil spills, booms and fancy helicopters and things like that all occur. But the idea that there was some machine there that would actually take the oil out of the water, I didn't see anything. And a very interesting story happened. My partner, John Hoteling, actually went to Billy Nungesser in New Orleans at one point and said, I want to say something to you. I kind of have a crazy idea. It's an actor with a kind of a magic machine. And Billy Nungesser said, wait, don't say another word. He said, before I was a politician, I was an oil man. And I saw that machine in Houston, and I know it works. Would you please call him for me? So I have been to the agencies, and it's in my written testimony who I've been to, and it's a process, and so is life. And I've lived it, and I thank you for bringing the light of day to my company by inviting me here.